It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. You're listening to us in your neighborhood from coast to coast and around the world. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Joan Herman, author, speaker, and your host. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Joining me is Taya Kyle, the widow of American sniper Chris Kyle. Taya is the founder of the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation and author of the new book, American Wife, a memoir of love, war, faith, and renewal. Welcome, Taya. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Taya, your life story has captivated millions through the movie American Sniper, which starred Bradley Cooper as Chris and Sienna Miller, who played you. Did you ever think that your story would generate such a response?
No, Chris and I both really did not think that it would from the beginning with American Sniper. And, it turns out that it's just a lot of people's story. It resonates because it's not just us. It's a lot of people who serve and their families who are represented through our story.
Taya, for those of us that are not directly involved with people that are serving, we don't think about the day-to-day sacrifice that all of you make. And I think this movie, your story, brought it to life. So when you met Chris and you fell in love with him, did you know that this is what you were signing up for? Did you have any idea what your future would hold?
I think it's really common for people to think that they have an idea of what they're signing up for in any marriage, but I don't know that any of us truly know because we don't know what's coming down the pike and we don't know what will hit us just in general, outside of the military or in. So I think I knew that there would be some difficult times or deployments, but that really paled in comparison to how much I loved him and how at peace I felt when I was with him.
Did you expect him to do 4 tours?
Typically they're supposed to have 2 combat deployments and then have a break, like a mandatory different duty for a year or 2 just to give them that mental break. And they just didn't do that with Chris. And so I knew that he would be deployed a lot. I knew that he would have training a lot, but there was no way to expect that it would be continuous deployments and workups from the day he, got through buds to really when he left the military. There's no way to predict that.
So tell us about your relationship with Chris. How did you meet, and when did you know he was the one?
We met right at a bar in San Diego, just a random place to meet, but he really had the kindest heart, and he seemed very genuine and idealistic in a way that I found extremely charming. He was not macho at all. He was just confident and humble at the same time. It was a very interesting dynamic. And then it was just something about him. It made me happy, and I really didn't know that it would ever be anything serious, especially because he was in the military, and that was not a life that I wanted at all. And just in time, I got to know him more, and I couldn't help it. I just adored him.
So Taya, for someone who you just described as being kind and loving and compassionate, what do you think those 4 tours did to him? How was he able to compartmentalize that life with his life here?
I think what happens is you just have a weight that's on you, and it's something that I think happens with a lot of people, even me. If you look at my life and maybe the innocence or the naivety that you have as you're growing up, and then life really has a way of sometimes handing it to you, and you have no choice but to cope and compartmentalize, but it's a big struggle to figure out how you do that and not let the negative things overpower you. So for Chris, he did have some of those negative impacts. He did have the sleepless nights or the moodiness and the struggle in trying to keep what happened on the battlefield in the battlefield and keep the kindness and softness. It's not easy for anybody, and it's something you can't give up on. And it's something that, unfortunately, there is no answer to. There's no way to predict how it's going to play out, which I think is scary for most people. Certainly it is for me. But I think it goes back to having faith that if you just keep taking steps, it eventually will work out in some way, even if you don't know exactly how.
Taya, we hear so much about post-traumatic stress disorder and how our veterans suffer. Each time that Chris came home, did you see a change in him? Did it progress?
I think each time was definitely different, but the problem is when you're going through it, and this is one of the reasons why we're having the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation is so focused on marriages of veterans and first responders, because the changes are small, and you at some point lose sight of being able to identify it as just a struggling warrior. You wonder if the person is changing, as people sometimes will in life. So, every time he would come back from a deployment, our life would be different too. We had one kid, then we had two kids, or we had just been married. And it's hard to identify if it's the life changes or if it's the time apart or if it's the stress of war. You just know that both people, it's taking a toll on both people.
Taya, you just mentioned the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, and in a promotional video for the foundation, you state that 3 in 4 married veterans have family problems after deployment, and half say deployments have had a negative effect on their marriage. So what do you believe can be done? What are you doing through your foundation to help these families?
I'm looking back at our experiences as a married couple, and what were the things that really I look back on and feel were pivotal moments or things that kept us together. And one of the things is our time together. So, there was a weekend where Chris was in Ohio on a training experience with the field, and I was at home in Oregon with my parents, and he had a weekend where he didn't have to train, and it was frustrating because he had a couple days off and we couldn't spend it together. And it was just that sort of age-old thing that ate at us of trying to find time together. Long story short, my mother bought me a plane ticket, took care of my children, and said, go spend time with your husband. We stayed in the hotel all weekend. We only left on Sunday because we felt like we should probably leave to get lunch or something. But the rest of the time we napped, we cuddled, we watched movies, we ordered room service. And it was that time away from everything that gave us that connection and that love, that feeling of being amazing together, just if we had the time to do it away from all the stresses. So one of the things that we're doing with the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation is giving revitalization retreats where we send first responder and veteran couples to a weekend away, and a lot of times it's even in their own hometown, so that we cut back on the stress of trying to find somebody to watch their kids and basically just be together.
So Taya, after all the years of service and sacrifice, one of the things about your story that really impacted me, that it must have been extremely difficult for you to deal with, was that Chris served 4 tours, and every time he went away, I'm sure you were praying and just hoping that he would return home safely. And he did each time. But then he was killed right here at home. He survived the unthinkable and then met this fate. How were you able to deal with this and come to terms with what happened in order to move forward?
Well, I think that part of it is I know that none of us have any guarantee. I've lost different people in the United States before, and I know that we have to really appreciate every moment we have because there are no guarantees. And then the horrifying part to me was that he and his friend were killed by somebody they were trying to help. To me, it was the act of somebody literally murdering them while they were in a peaceful environment trying to provide help. That is what I think was even harder to accept and to get my head around. And at the same time, I know that evil exists, and I know that people are evil no matter what country you're in. There are going to be people who truly have an ability, let's put it that way, truly have an ability to be evil.
And I know you have a very strong faith. What role did that play in helping you heal?
I think it was everything, truly. It's, aside from my friends and family who have been absolutely amazing, it's my faith in God that's always gotten me through. It got me through the deployments. And with Chris's death, I need to believe that I will see him again. And I do believe that. So, I guess I would say it's the way I just said it almost makes it sound like I need it, therefore I believe it. But the truth is the opposite. I believe it, and I've come to depend on it. And, I wanted to tell you one other thing when we were talking about the revitalization retreats. One of the things that a friend of mine told me quite a while ago was the time when you least feel like going away for a weekend, or the time when you least feel like going on a date with your husband, is the time you need to do it the most. And I thought, you know what, that is so true. And as a spouse, we tend to think, oh, if you're irritated with somebody, you don't even feel like going through the effort to make the date happen or whatever. But she was right, and we did that a number of times, and it really was very, very healing and very positive.
And I think you're absolutely right. People tend to pull away at the precise time when they should be investing in the relationship. It's when you don't want to be with the person that you need to be with that person the most. And maybe that's why we have such a high divorce rate. People give up. So Taya, it's been reported that Bradley Cooper nailed his portrayal of your husband, Chris. What do you think? Was he able to embody Chris? Did you feel like you were looking at your husband?
Incredible. I mean, truly awe-inspiring. I give him so much credit for his ability to really go above and beyond and know Chris in a very real, intimate way, I would say, because he got into his heart and his mind and his soul, and he knows who Chris is, and he brought that to the screen, and that did not come easily. I mean, that came with a lot of work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of commitment that that's something I can never repay. The gift that he gave us in really bringing Chris to the screen.
And what about you, Taya? What was it like to see an actress like Sienna Miller portray you?
It's interesting because I was so focused on Chris when I first saw it, and then I realized that, emotionally, Sienna, her portrayal brought out those emotions in me, which I think is a testament to how good of an actress she is. I mean, I felt what she felt as she was going through it again, all over again. She's a phenomenal person and actor, and so I do feel like she did a great job.
The book is American Wife, a memoir of love, war, faith, and renewal by Taya Kyle. If you'd like to learn more about Taya or about the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, you can visit the website chriskylefrogfoundation.org. Taya, in our final moments, what needs to be done to help our veterans, and what can we do to help those that serve?
That's a great question, and I think that really whatever your gift is, if you bring it to the table, you're helping someone. So your gift is, you inspire people, and you have a radio program, and you're doing your part just by raising awareness. And there are other people who have written songs, or other people who serve, and they seek out charities and they want to help. And then there are people that every day do little things, whether it's buying a veteran and their family a meal if they see them at a restaurant, or putting a flag in their yard on a national holiday, or writing them a note, or supporting their family by babysitting or mowing the lawn when somebody's deployed. Those kinds of things, they mean the world to people who are serving.
And if you just heard anything that moved you, please visit chriskylefrogfoundation.org to get more information. Taya, thank you so much for being here with us today. I am so sorry for your loss, and I'm so sorry for the pain that you've experienced. But I'm so happy that you were able to turn this tragedy into something good, and that you're touching so many lives. So thank you for being here and for sharing your story with us.
Well, thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate the support and the awareness everybody is taking from the book and the movie. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.